Join the Bhakti podcast with deep insights into all matters spiritual. Like and subscribe to keep up to date with your inner self.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Veshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Veshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pasatyadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai 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 Jaya Nitai Satchishanda Nitai Satchishanda Nitai Satchishanda Jaya Nitai Satchishanda Jaya Nitai Satchishanda Nitai Satchishanda Nitai Satchishanda Jaya Nitai Satchishanda Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya 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 Giri Govardhan. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Ananda Gati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. It's a very important verse tonight. Very, very important verse. It's a key verse, one of the key verses of Bhagavad Gītā. So, please, let's see.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Manusyanam Saharesu.
Sahasreshu.
Saharesu.
Oh, Sahasreshu.
Sahasresu. Kashi Yaitati Siddharye. Yatatam api siddhananam. Keshin mam veti tatvata. Out of many
Translation.
Thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Purport. There are various grades of men, and out of many thousands, one may be sufficiently interested in transcendental realization to try to know what is self, what is body, and what is absolute truth. Generally, mankind is simply engaged in the animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, and hardly anyone interested in transcendental knowledge. The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge. In understanding the self, the super self, the process of realization by Jnana Yoga, and discrimination of the self from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and the jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Amongst the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripada Sankaracharya had admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna even though one have transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda.
Ishvara.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anandir Adir Govinda Sarva Karanam. It is very difficult for non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy, as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it's practiced factually according to the rules and regulation, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasmati Siddhu,
Rasamrita.
Rasamrita.
Sidhu.
It's okay if I carry on reading, Prabhu?
No, that's an important verse. Do that. Shruti Smriti.
Shruti Smriti Puranandi Panacharatra Dittam Vina Akantiki Hari Hare Bhaktir Utpata Yeva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishad, Puranas, and the Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. It is not possible for Brahman realized impersonal or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yasoda or the charity of Arjuna. Even the great demigods are sometimes confused about Krishna. Mam tu veta na kachana. No one knows me as I am, the Lord says, and if one does know him, then sa mahatma su durlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, unless one practices devotion service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna, as he is Tatvata, even though one is a great scholar or philosopher. Only the pure devotees can know something of the inconceivable, transcendental qualities in Krishna. His being the cause of all causes, his omnipotence and opulence, and his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciations. Because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. He is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotees alone can realize him as he is. Therefore, it is said, Atta Shri Krishna Namadi Me Bhavad Grayam Indriya Sevan Mukhe Hi Jivad So Svayam Iva Suparati Ada.
Puratyada. One word. Puratyada.
Suratyada. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotee, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yes, that's a quote. Okay. Jai Hare Krishna. Thank you, Amit. You has come. Jayanti Bai, Hare Krishna. Amagyanathimurandasya Gananshana Sharakaya Jakshur Unvilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Zagrajatam Zahagunaragunatan Vidam Tam Zachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Zahagana Lalita Shivishakhanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagadavate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarupescha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So sometimes devotees asking, how come so few devotees come to the temple? How come so few devotees come to our Wednesday group? How come so few devotees are there on Saturday? How come so few are interested in Krishna consciousness? So here the answer is given. That it is very, very rare, because Krishna consciousness is like a diamond. A diamond is very rare. We don't find diamonds in the market or on the street. So it is rare to get a diamond. So immediately, when we understand that Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service is very rare. So therefore, out of thousands, Krishna is saying, there is one person who even endeavors for perfection. And that can be done in many ways. Like one tries to reach Brahman realization. That's a jnani, the philosophical speculator. It's just amazing how Srila Prabhupada hammers home this point of the jnani, the karmi, the jnani, and the yogi, and the devotee, and the progressive realization. Almost since the yoga chapter we finished it, almost every purport, Srila Prabhupada hammers home this point. So one may be jnanis, or those who aim for Brahman realization. They're also transcendentalists. Also, they are not devotees. They're transcendentalists. They're classed as transcendentalists. And the karma yogi, the jnana yogi, they're classed as transcendentalist. If someone is not a yogi, just following the path of karma, or the path of jnana, or the path of yoga, without aiming for devotional service, then Srila Prabhupada says, without aiming for bhakti, karma and jnana become material. But if karma and jnana aim for bhakti, then they're called not karma and jnana, but they're called karma yoga and jnana yoga. That yoga means linking. Yoga means linking. Linking with whom? Linking with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, a transcendentalist, one who is interested in transcendental knowledge, interested of uncovering, exploring the absolute truth. He is already very rare among thousands of ordinary people, because, as Srila Prabhupada points out in his purport, ordinary people are just after eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That is all their life turns around these four basic principles. And if we analyze that and we're looking around, then the majority of people, there may be even pious people or not so pious people, but all what they're interested is dharma, artha, kāma, and mokṣa. Anyone from an Indian background, he will know. Dharma, artha, kāma, mokṣa. Dharma means to be a religious person. Generally, pious people they want to be religious. The Western people, they don't even want to be religious. They have rejected religion or religiosity. So they're impious people. Not all. There's some devout Christians and so on. So religiosity is a starting point. Yeah, anyone with a bit of pious background or some good samskaras, some good impressions in the chitta, in the consciousness, in the mind, for many lifetimes, and they're pious people. At least they are religious. Religious means what? Spiritual and religious is quite different. Religious means there is some material motives there. Because you be a pious person, a religious person, you want something from God. You want a stable family life, a good wife, good husband, good children, nice education, economic development, money, 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 and status in society, in the community. These are the pious, religious people. They're aiming for this. And through their pious activity and religiosity, there comes artha, which means economic development. And they following that path of economic development. And what does it mean in practical terms? It means I get a nice house, pay off the mortgage, go on the property ladder, get another house, improve my situation. And once that is I'm paid off or partly paid off, then I find a better house, from a 2-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house, bigger and bigger. Same with a car, a small car at the beginning, and by practicing piety and religiosity and going to the temple, going to the mosque, going to the church, then economic development will automatically come and the opportunities are there, and then a bigger car and a bigger car, a bigger TV, better holidays. So spending, never enough money, because once we have increased financial rewards from our work, from our karma activities, then we also spend more. So still never enough money, always struggling. That is, Srila Prabhupada calls it a hard struggle for existence. Always struggling because we want to be happy. And becoming happy, even the pious person, they think by becoming happy, I need some economic development. What comes after economic development? We have amassed a little fortune, some good bank balance. Then is kāma, sense gratification. We're not accumulating a good bank balance and a stable family situation. No, we want to enjoy, of course. We're not keeping a big bank balance and keep it in the bank forever. No, we want to spend it. We want to go on holiday, better holiday, more expensive holidays, and people go to hotels and restaurants and more and more and more. Higher, better taste, clothes, everything better, improving, economically improving. Then we enjoy the results of our work. That is called fruitive activity. We work so hard in order to enjoy the result. Sense gratification. We want to satisfy our senses. Behind that desire to satisfy our senses is, of course, a quest for happiness. Every living entity, from Lord Brahma to the small ant, wants happiness. So in that quest for happiness, the pious person or the materialistic person. They think happiness comes from gratifying my senses. The materialistic person, they do it without God, gratifying my senses, enjoying the fruit of my work. The religious person, the pious person, God is there in the equation. They believe in God, they worship God, they're going to the temple, mosque, church, and praying for more sense gratification, praying for good health, all this. So they are more advanced, of course, because they understand there is God, Krishna. And they know who to pray to for economic benefits. So they all want some benefit. And because they want to be happy. So the pious person, the religious person, is quite a bit different. They're turning to God to be happy. They're praying to God to arrange some happiness. Material happiness. Or they're aiming to reach the higher planetary systems. Many. They don't think I want to go back home to Godhead. No, they want to go to Svarga, to higher planetary systems, to the heavenly planets, and enjoy. Because, as we hear from the Vedas, the enjoyment in the higher planets is many times greater than on this earthly planet. Many times. In fact, it is said we cannot even imagine the enjoyment available in the higher, in the heavenly planets. Heaven. So they want to go to heaven. All these religious people, they want to go to heaven. Where does a Christian want to go? What's the aim of being Christian? What's the aim of going to church? What's the aim of praying? Let me come to heaven. What's the Muslims praying? They want to go to heaven. Have so many virgins to enjoy, and so wonderful food and all that. This is all material enjoyment times 1,000 in the heavenly planets. Hindus also, they want to go to the heavenly planets. They want to be on Lord Indra's planet, and the lifespan is multiple times greater than on this earthly planet. Thousands of years. Of course, what is thousands of years from our perspective is only 100 years in the heavenly planets also. But time is different, it's relative. So after, say, leaving this body, and there have been religious and pious people, they may be elevated to the heavenly planets, like Lord Indra's planet or other planets, and enjoy for thousands of years sense gratification. Same thing. Like the people here on this earthly planet, they want to enjoy sense gratification. They want to be happy by enjoying sense gratification, by pleasing their senses, the eyes, the ears, the sense of smell, sense of touch, the sense of taste. That's all. The senses, satisfying the senses, as if by satisfying the senses one can actually be happy. Not to say there is not some temporary happiness there by excitement and some temporary happiness. Rituan Vihari Prabhu Ki Jai, welcome. So temporary happiness is there in sense gratification, but it's only temporary. As we all know, we have some material desire, we fulfill that material desire. Immediately a new material desire pops up, never ending. Because what is sense gratification? Srila Prabhupada tells us it is a concoction of the mind. The mind thinks, I will be happy like this, like that, like this, like that. So a concoction of the mind, that's all. To put something in our eyes, see something nice, beautiful, to hear some nice sound, to touch some soft, nice shape, to taste some delicious food. And as we know, when we analyze, let's take the sense of taste. It is said variety is a mother of enjoyment. If we have the same food, our favorite food, which we are hankering for, we're hankering for our favorite food. Oh, can you cook my favorite food, whatever it is? And can you cook it every day? Because I love that so much. Paneer sabji, nice dal, urad dal, chapatis, pakoras, kachoris, some sweets as well, some burfi, so many nice, beautiful preparations. But if we eat it every day, after a very short time, even 3, 4, 5 days maximum, we're bored of it. Oh, and now I want something else. We may love sweets, but if we get sweets every day, then oh no, can you do something savory? So the enjoyment is very flickering, very flickering. What to speak of the sense of touch, the water. In the summer, we want the water to be cool. In the winter, we want the water to be warm. It's the same water. We feel it cold in the winter and warm in the summer. Same water. So we're trying to satisfy the mind. Of course, the mind can never be satisfied by sense gratification. Neither can the senses be satisfied. And then we become frustrated. We're trying very hard to be happy through sense gratification, through karma activities. And as our life passes by, and it does pass by, we're becoming 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 75, 80, the body starts breaking down. Things going wrong. Arthritis comes, diabetes, the knees not working anymore as they should, the eyes are declining, our memory is declining, everything is declining. And then we become very frustrated because all our life we worked so hard to be happy, but still we haven't achieved that happiness we always hanker for. We hanker for eternal happiness, really. Of course, not everybody thinks like that. I had a discussion with someone, and they said one has to be satisfied with the little happinesses in life, the day-to-day happinesses, and taste some nice food and touch nice, pleasing the touch, the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the smell. One has to be satisfied with that. But even in my younger years, when this conversation occurred, I said, I'm not satisfied with that. That's not enough for me. I want a big happiness inside. I want the happiness of the soul. Just a little bit happiness on the tongue, in the eyes, and the ears, and that's not. I know that will not satisfy me. It has never satisfied me a quarter, a third of my life. So I don't believe in that. I want the big happiness. And then Krishna consciousness comes in, or any transcendental knowledge and a spiritual path. So once those who pursue material happiness at the all in all, at the only thing, at the only aim in life, once they come to advanced age, they become very, very frustrated because they haven't achieved the happiness they thought they could achieve by sense gratification. If you ever have overheard old men sitting on the bench talking, what's they talking about? When I was young, we did this, we did that. So many things I enjoyed so much when I was young. Because in an old body which breaks down, there is not much more sense gratification available. It is a misconception to think that excitement of the senses we felt when we were 16, 20, 25, that will stay like that till the day I die. That's not true. Nothing stays the same. Everything is used up. If we drive a car, our tires are used up, and after some time we have to put new tires on. So the same with the senses. They get used up. They don't give that happiness anymore. It seems for someone of younger years very difficult to conceive because they don't have that experience. But we know from Shastra and from older people, and by observation and analysis, that the senses get used up. Like a candle. We light a candle, eventually the candle will burn down and extinguish. So our senses will burn down. And so more we're using our senses in sense gratification, so more they get worn out, just like the car. So more we drive big distances, so more the tires get used up, and so sooner we have to change the tire. So the sense is wearing out, and then we become very frustrated, and then we can only talk. When I was young, remember, so they're enjoying or trying to enjoy in the mind sense gratification, not in the senses anymore. When they were young, the satisfaction came through the senses, but now the senses are like a sponge. You have squeezed all water out of the sponge. And you're squeezing, and nothing comes out anymore. That's the senses have been worn down. And again, so more we use them in sense gratification, so sooner they wear down. And then everybody what they want. Not everybody, not the materialistic people. But the pious person, the religious person, then they want mokṣa. And the concept of mokṣa, liberation, is to enter into the clearing effulgence of Krishna, the brahmajyoti, the Brahman. So this is dharma, artha, kāma, and mokṣa. So, amongst thousands of these people, either gross materialist or pious, religious persons, who want to have a higher enjoyment. If they don't want to go to the heavenly planets, then they want a good birth. That's very common. They want a good birth. They're being pious, they're being religious, because they know next lifetime I will have a good birth in a good family and lots of money and everything, a better situation than now. That's their aim. That's why they're pious. That's why they're religious. You get a better situation next time around. They don't think, let's stop it the next time around. They don't think at all. That is only the devotees who want to make a final solution, because Srila Prabhupada said to his early disciples, your qualification is that you had enough of this material world. You're frustrated of this material world, what is going on. Many things are going on all the time. From time to time, every 80, 90 years, there is a war. Everything gets destroyed and everybody's suffering and we are separated from loved ones. Or we die ourselves and then take another birth, post-war. And that's going on. Wars are always going on. Maybe not in one generation. That happened also one generation, First and Second World War. Same thing. There's plenty of people, they have been as soldiers in the war, in the First World War, and then in the Second. So these two wars came pretty close to each other. But now we had a big peace period, some 80 years. So, but now everybody's gearing up. Let's have another war. Well, surely will come. Surely will come. With all that karma accumulated, that's almost... well, the wars are there locally, but a world war will also come. So these are the endeavors of pious people. And amongst thousands of them, there may be only one who wants more than just a better situation, better enjoyment, a better birth, going to the heavenly planets, and so on, satisfying one's senses, more economic development, more sense gratification. But there's only one amongst many thousands who somehow or other is trying to find out the truth, the absolute truth. He wants perfection, because anything we just described, that's not perfection. It's just the mill going around. Samsara It's a wheel of samsara, of repeated birth and death. Sometimes up, sometimes down. Famous verse, Brahmanda Brahmide Kona Bhagavana Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhakti Ladda Beach, explained that sometimes we are enjoying in the upper planetary systems, sometimes we are down in the lower, sometimes we are in the middle planetary system as we are now. And this has been going on since almost time immemorial. But of course there is a way out. And that the devotees, they threading on the path of no more birth. Then Krishna says, of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. And of course, we're talking about the impersonalists, those who are aiming for the Brahman. They may even achieve the Brahma Buddha platform, the liberated platform. Brahma Buddha Prasanatmana Shochadina Kangshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. They have achieved being equal-minded in all situations. They're not lamenting, they're not hankering, they're fixed, they're liberated. Liberated from what? Liberated from the modes of material nature, liberated from ignorance, passion, and goodness, ordinary goodness. They're liberated, they're beyond these three modes of material nature. That's not an easy stage to come to. And what are these modes? What are the results of these modes? Greed, lustiness, deceit, hypocrisy, all of that. What we see, all these bad qualities we see in this material world, where people fighting, anger, all of that, between man and between nation and nation, that's going on. Because they have not been able to control their senses, they have not been able to come to that stage of sama sarveshu bhuteshu, equal to all living entities. They cannot be equal to their own human beings. There's no question of being equal. I'm superior than you. How can we be equal? I'm white, you are black. How can we be equal? I'm man, you're a woman. How can we be equal? I'm more educated, you're less educated. How can we be equal? So there's not equality amongst men. But Krishna says, Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, all living entities, equal, not amongst people only, but equal amongst with the animals. All living entities, equality. Feeling for other living entities, not a senseless slaughter of animals. So anyone who is on that liberated platform, he has realized that. He feels for the suffering of others. Paradukha dukhi. He feels for the suffering of the animals who are senselessly slaughtered in the slaughterhouse, just for our palate to enjoy some excitement on our tongue and palate. That's all. No need from the health point of view. Opposite. So this is going on. So of those who have achieved perfection, have achieved this Brahma Buddha platform, and their mind is stable and they're equally disposed to all living entities, very high stage. Then Krishna says, but hardly one knows me in truth. Tattvataha, in truth. So to know Krishna is not an easy thing. As impersonalists try to say, oh, bhakti, that's an easy path. And Srila Prabhupada points out, but when they try to engage in bhakti, they're falling away, because it is not at all easy. For a devotee, after practicing for some time, it is easy. At the beginning, we have explained many times, at the beginning it's difficult. Particularly if we are in the habit of acting in a sinful way. We have so many bad samskaras, impressions in our mind, that it will be difficult to even, if we are habituated to eating meat and fish and eggs, and not that easy to give it up. Generally, there are few people who can give it up from one moment to the next. It's like an addiction. Like an addiction. People are addicted to smoking, or drinking alcohol, or taking intoxication, or eating non-veg food. They're addicted to it. So a smoker, they're trying to give it up. They can't. It's addiction. Or they have to drink their coffee. It's an addiction. So they're trying to vaping. And then they're addicted to the vaping. They're not going. It was meant to get you off the cigarettes. Well, they're off the cigarettes, yes, but they're on the vaping machine. So it's very difficult to give up these sinful activities. What to speak of sleeping. People spend huge amounts. Oh, it's Sunday coming around weekend. Now let me sleep for 12 hours. Very good. Let me catch up. Of course, we never can catch up. What to speak of intoxication? Almost everyone is taking some sort of intoxication. Addiction, intoxication. Most people taking some amount of alcohol, and drug taking is also very common. You walk through town, you can smell some marijuana everywhere. Means not in all areas, not some more higher educated areas. No, these are addictions. Meat eating is an addiction too. What is the proof? Look at any films, Netflix, cinema. You find a film with no meat, fish, and egg eating, that's very difficult to find. Without any intoxication. They don't drink alcohol. They don't smoke. Very difficult to find. Without any sexual scenes in the movie, very difficult to find. Because that's the lifeblood of a materialistic civilization. So Srila Prabhupada says, hardly anyone is interested in transcendental knowledge. And then Srila Prabhupada explains the first chapter of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge. And even those who wanting to realize the Brahman and think there's nothing beyond the Brahman, I mean, they're looking for transcendental knowledge. Understanding the self, the super self. Of course, I wouldn't say Krishna, but super self is a very nice compromise. Vijay, Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Late, but you are here.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Sorry, I had an open evening to attend.
Okay. Good you're here. Hare Krishna. So, the first 6 chapters are for those who are aiming for transcendental knowledge in understanding the self. So these are much more discerning people. But how many people trying to understand the self? You ask people, who are you? Well, everybody claims they know, I am Mr. So-and-so. No, that's not you. That's your name. Oh, I'm a delivery driver. I'm a doctor. No, that's not you. That's your job. I'm a father. I have 4 children, and no, that is your social position. So, but who are you? There's a very nice example we all heard before. You say to someone, point at your hand. They will point at the hand. Not a difficult thing to do. Now point at your leg. Okay. Point at your head. Yes. Point at yourself. Oh, then they're stuck. I don't know where to point to. Some point at the chest. Yes, I got some idea. The self is somewhere in the heart. Yes, the soul is somewhere in the heart. As Atma, accompanied by the Param Atma, the Supreme Self, Krishna, Vishnu. So that is self-realization. And Srila Prabhupada speaks of the super self. For people who are not accustomed to devotional service, sometimes we speak, rather than speaking of Krishna, we speak of the super self. They can digest it a little bit better. They may be not religious at all. If you speak of God, they're turning off. But you speak of self-realization, that's a very modern term. Oh yes, everybody wants to realize their self-thinking. Self-realization means discovering your true potential. Material concept. But that's a starting point, speaking of the self and the super self. And Srila Prabhupada carries on through the process of jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, to discriminate between the self and matter. So that is some more advanced stage to understand there is not all is material. There is something different. There's something spiritual, spirit and matter. And then Srila Prabhupada makes a crucial point. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness, means devotees. The Brahmin realized person cannot understand Krishna, nor can the Paramatma meditating yogi understand Krishna. These are partial realizations, because the Brahman effulgence is a part of Krishna, and the super soul Paramatma manifestation is a part of Krishna. It's not the full Krishna, but Shyama Sundar Bhagavan Krishna, that is the full Krishna with all his parts, his energy, his everything. Then Srila Prabhupada says, as the Transcendentalists may achieve the impersonal Brahman, as it is easier to understand than Krishna. It appears like for someone who is not a devotee, the Brahman is easier to understand. Of course, for a devotee, it's very difficult. For someone who has been a devotee for quite a bit of time, it's difficult to. It's difficult to understand Krishna? No, it's very easy to understand Krishna. Very easy for a devotee. Very easy. So then, Srila Prabhupada points out, Krishna is beyond Brahman and Paramatma. And the jnanis and the yogis are confused to understand Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Shankaracharya. He admitted in his commentary to Bhagavad Gītā, said Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the followers of Shankaracharya said, don't accept that, because they want to maintain the impersonal idea, Advaitavada. So they don't want to compromise. So they don't want to accept or to speak of understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada points out, it's difficult to know Krishna even though one has transcendental realization of the impersonal Brahman. I have personal experience of that. Speaking with others, they may have reached some transcendental realization of the impersonal Brahman, but for them to accept Krishna seems to be very, very difficult. And then they think Krishna and his incarnation are a manifestation of this material Maya. That's the thing. Therefore they're called Mayavadi. They think Krishna is Maya. They don't understand Krishna's transcendental form. It's not that easy to understand Krishna's eternal transcendental form. As I have mentioned before, I spoke to someone, very pious, religious person. We spoke about Krishna, Jamashtami, and he had that conviction when Krishna comes 5,000 years ago in this material world, he takes on a material body. No, he doesn't. Which material body can lift Govardhan Hill on his little finger on his left hand for 7 nights and 7 days? These are superhuman activities. Which person can expand himself unlimitedly into every atom of this material creation, or marry 16,000 queens, Dwarka? Which material person can do that? No one can do that. So Krishna has a transcendental body. It's confusing, very confusing, because it looks like a human body. So people think when they see images or deities of Krishna, oh, that's 2 hands, 2 legs. That's a human form. We don't say Krishna has a human form. He comes once in a day of Brahma. Every 4,320,000,000 years, he comes as a human form. No, it's a human-like form. It looks like human, but it's not human. It's transcendental. It's spiritual. Krishna's body is fully spiritual and transcendental. And if we go to the spiritual world back home, where we belong, we also have a Svarup. We also have a spiritual body, just like Krishna's. Spiritual, full and full, no difference between body and soul. But while we are here in this material atmosphere, we are Tatashta Shakti, in between material and spiritual, because we have a material body, but inside, we as soul, we are full spiritual entities. So it's a compromising situation. Tatashta, in between, half spiritual, half material. Therefore, we are prone to be overcome by the material energy. Krishna is never touched by the 3 modes of material nature, even when he comes into this material world. That would be nice, being in this material world, but not being touched by the 3 modes of nature. That is a liberated platform, Brahma, Buddha, Prasanatma. We can achieve that in this very lifetime. So it's difficult to know Krishna, even for those who have realization of the impersonal Brahman. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. Krishna has a fully transcendental body, even Lord Brahma, the fountainhead of our Sampradaya. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. He's the first guru. The whole parampara, our disciplic succession, comes from Lord Brahma. Very long time ago, millions of years ago. The so-called path of bhakti, unauthorized path of bhakti. Some people practicing or think they're practicing bhakti, but they're practicing in a sentimental way. That may be easy, but to properly practice bhakti yoga according to Shastra and Guru, that's not that easy. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes, of course, the famous verse you have been reading, Amit, Shruti Smriti Purana, the devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. So, we are accepting all these scriptures, the Upanishads, the Puranas, Narada Pancharatra, and so on. Or to speak of Bhagavad Gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam. Not a sentimental version, unauthorized version of Bhakti. That sentimental version, that is called Prakrita Sahajya. Cheap Bhakti. A cheap version, like everything is cheap. We get a real Rolex watch. That is something of value. But in the market there are cheap imitations for a fraction of the price. They look like a Rolex watch, but they're not Rolex watch. It's a cheap imitation. So in Bhakti Yoga, in Krishna consciousness, that also exists. We may not have any personal experience of Prakrita Sahajya mentalities, but market, that is there. We may not be able to even, with limited knowledge, to understand that, if someone is in that kind of consciousness. Therefore, it's very important. Devotees follow all the principles laid down by Srila Prabhupada strictly, and chanting the 16 rounds. And from that, everything will eventually come. The purification in the heart will come, particularly if we keep association with devotees, sadhu sangha, like we do tonight or every Wednesday and Saturday. Through that sadhu sangha and through our regular chanting of our assigned rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, and offering all of our food, not some, but all of our food, only eating food which has been offered and which is offerable, of course. This purifies the heart. And of course, if we regularly reading Bhagavad Gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, and so on, so many beautiful books, a lifetime of reading, and we're fixing our mind on that regular as a diet. A little bit reading in the morning, in the evening, or at least once a day. We pick up one of the books, whichever we feel inspired at the time. So that's a diet. And then we will undoubtedly make progress on the anartha nivritti stage. Many times we have spoken about this, like making ghee from butter. So all the impurities will come up, and we'll just take them and whisk them away. The process can be as quick or as slow as we want to. If we want to engage in this purification process after many, many lifetimes, we can do that. Yes, we get a human form of life next time, but there is a next time. Not so nice to die, painful. And not so nice to take birth, also painful. Crying, screaming. And not so nice to be packed up in the womb for 9 months. All of that is so much pain experienced through this material body. But if we want to make ghee on a very, very low heat, maybe we want to make ghee and put a candle under the butter, we may get the result also, but it will take a long, long time. But if we put the pot with butter on the stove and you put a bit of heat, not full heat, otherwise we'll burn it, but sufficient heat, more heat than a candle, and then the process will speed up. So if we want to get out of this material atmosphere, we want to go back home to Godhead in this lifetime, we can do so. We can speed up that process. And let's not forget, the association of devotees will help us. Srila Prabhupada will help us. We have mentioned the other day. Srila Prabhupada said, unless you're 100% Krishna conscious, you cannot go back home to Godhead. And the devotees were very, very resignated. They hung their head, and Srila Prabhupada could see that. Then he said, okay, 90% you have to be Krishna conscious to go back home to Godhead. And still the devotees didn't feel they're up to it. The senses are pulling in all directions, and the mind is just all over the place. So Srila Prabhupada said, 80%. I guarantee you, if you're 80% Krishna conscious, that will be your last lifetime. And still, devotees weren't thinking they can do it. And then he walked out and he said, 70%. So Srila Prabhupada, who is so close to Krishna, right-hand man in the spiritual world, so he can make such statements, 70% be Krishna conscious, and that will be your last birth. And Krishna will fulfill the desire and the statement of his devotees. We know that. When Lord Brahma gave all these promises to Hiranyakashipu, yes, my dear demon, you will not be killed at night, not at day, not by animal, not by man, not in the house, nor out of the house, not by any weapon, and so on. The Lord came as Lord Nrsimhadev and fulfilled all the promises of Lord Brahma. So Krishna fulfills the promises of his devotees. If Srila Prabhupada says 70%, then Krishna will fulfill that. We can be 70% Krishna conscious, and that will be our last birth. So then we progress through the clearing process of anatta nivritti as quick or as slow as we want. And then we're developing some taste, ruchi. Sometimes we may have some taste even now in the clearing stage. Sometimes we are hearing a beautiful kirtan, or we are in a beautiful kirtan, even better, with devotees around ourselves, and then we have some taste. Oh, I like this. How nice it is to chant Hare Krishna. Sometimes we sitting down for our japa and we feeling very greatly elated. We chant and feeling so much happiness and pleasure. Not all the time, but sometimes. So said, taste is coming there sometimes. There is a very nice story said at the beginning of our Krishna consciousness. Krishna may give us some free sample of what that happiness of Krishna consciousness is all about. So even at the very, very beginning, we feel greatly ecstatic. Oh, this Krishna consciousness is beautiful. That's a free sample, like some company posts a free sample of washing powder through the door or anything else. We think, oh, free sample. I didn't need to buy anything. Oh, let's use it. Oh, it's beautiful washing powder. It may even come another time, another week, another month, free sample, and even a third time. But then it stops. You won't get free samples for eternity. No. That is just to make us addicted to the product. Once we have experienced the product through the free samples, then we have to pay the price. And we are willing to pay the price because we are addicted to the product. We like the washing powder or anything else. So the same with Krishna. He gives us a free sample to make us a little bit attached. So then we come to the stage of ruchi, of taste. That's more than the free sample. That's an advanced stage in Krishna consciousness. We truly have a taste in Krishna consciousness. We like Krishna consciousness. We like to hear. We like to chant. We like to worship Krishna. We like to associate with devotees. There's so many ways we can practice Krishna consciousness. We love to cook for Krishna. We like to worship Krishna at home in our altar. We like to do arti. We like to speak to others about Krishna. So we're getting a taste. And after a taste, after some time, we're getting very attached to Krishna. Krishna becomes our all and everything. And everything is seen through the lens of Krishna consciousness. We have dedicated our lives for Krishna. And then it goes on and on. Then we get some spiritual emotions, bhava, the forerunner of love for Krishna. And it all ends up in Krishna prema, pure love for Krishna, pure devotional service. Okay, let's stop here, even though we haven't gone through the entire purport, but it's pretty clear what Srila Prabhupada wants to tell us. So are there any questions, Ritu and Prabhu, or any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class and explanation, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, no questions. Like as you mentioned that once we have this ruchi, then it becomes spontaneous. Initially, it's like a burden, but sometimes, as you mentioned, devotees get glimpse of that bliss.
Yes.
That means that bliss is coming. So my question is how to, because at other times we get swayed by material desires, hankering for other things which are very dear to our heart, in the sense material things, and that's why that taste which came transiently, that gets shadowed. So how to keep it like that in the same phase, or ever increasing, which is described in the Shastras, that it is ever increasing. Because what I myself am feeling, I'm going to the hospital, doing my job. Yes, I'm thinking in my mind, this is Krishna's. Krishna has given that to me as my. It's my occupational duty, and I should be doing that in a mood that this is serving Krishna, and whatever comes, I would be serving the devotees. But still, at some point, it's not like directly, engaging in devotional service, like hearing Kirtan or hearing Katha, like now. So how to keep ourselves in that mood, or in a perpetual position of taste, in spite of being in position which is material, basically.
Yes, good question. Well, that is a stage of steadiness, nishta. That is a very advanced stage of the mind is very flickering. Here and there, sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes we feel the ecstasy, sometimes not, sometimes we focus on Krishna, sometimes not. So the mind is very flickering because the mind is not fully purified. It seems to be very difficult to focus. Sometimes we can focus on Krishna, and when we focus on Krishna, we get the result as well. But sometimes we're forgetting Krishna again. So that stage of nishta, steadiness, we don't forget Krishna. Krishna is always in the focus. At least 70%. At least that's enough. 70% focused on Krishna. So that steadiness will come, that nishta, after just keeping on practicing that Krishna consciousness. And then actually, of course, it's always nice to be with the devotees and the Kirtan and whatever, but actually there is not much, if any, difference of going to work and be in Krishna consciousness or being at home in front of the deities and Krishna conscious, or in a Kirtan and Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious, we can and we have to come to that stage of being all the time, in any situation, without being overpowered by forgetfulness. That's all. It's forgetfulness. We're losing the focus. But in advanced stages of Krishna consciousness, we don't lose the focus. The focus is always there. By walking, by sleeping, by working, by eating, in any situation. Like we have so many wonderful examples of Srila Prabhupada. He was always Krishna conscious. Whatever he was doing, he may have been walking with his disciples in the park, and then we stopped and pointing to some bird dropping under a tree. You know the story, what this is. The devotees try to explain in so many ways, and then he said, it just shows the birds getting attached to the same branch where they do the toilet business. Same branch, because that all the bird droppings are all on the same branch. So even the birds getting attached to a branch. So what do you speak of us? Material attachment. Or another occasion, he said, who is eating with his feet? The devotees were shocked. Who is eating with his feet? They couldn't name any living entity who's eating with his feet. And Srila Prabhupada said, it's a tree. The tree is eating with his feet. So these are just two examples that Srila Prabhupada was always Krishna conscious in any situation, totally steady, not forgetful of Krishna, but then this is the higher stages of bhakti. This is pure devotional service. Always connecting with Krishna, the bird droppings, or seeing the tree, connecting with Krishna. Seeing every living entity, that's a liberated platform. Sarma sarveshu bhuteshu, seeing every living entity with equal vision as part and parcel of Krishna, one cannot forget. While the materialistic persons that don't even know, while eating animal flesh, they are responsible for the killing of the animal and the suffering of the animal. The devotee who is fixed and steady, he loves all creatures. Naturally, he doesn't even have to try. He's so much connected with Krishna than any creature. What to speak of humans, he feels for them. He feels affection for them. He speaks to the animal. The devotee speaks to the animal. Oh, my dear cat or dog. Hello, how are you? Hare Krishna. 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 Have you ever caught yourself? You have a cat or a dog, and you're standing in front of them close by, and you say, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So they're listening very careful. They're getting benefit just by that sound vibration. Krishna, Krishna. Gives them some prasadam. Next lifetime, human form. So, to answer your question, that will come if we regularly practicing. That enthusiasm will be there, utsaha, and that nishta, that steadiness will be there. And then there is not much difference. If you are at work, you're not forgetting Krishna even when you are at work. Even if you are surrounded by your materialistic colleagues, you see what they are. We can see. If we are Krishna conscious, we can see everyone else. We can see, oh, this person is so much covered. And then we can also, once we see the heart of other people, we can also find some ways of elevating them, of helping them. specifically, not just one fits all. That is the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness. We're preaching about Krishna, we're speaking about Krishna and thinking everybody is equal. No, a more advanced devotee, he can exactly know where this other person is at. And his speaking is specific to that person. So that is Krishna consciousness in the higher stages, because he can see the heart of other people. How can we forget Krishna? If we see the heart of other people, if we see the suffering of other people, if we see the absorption in materialistic activities, we cannot hate them either. Srila Prabhupada said, if you hate the sinner, how can you help them? No, we don't hate anyone. But we feel the compassion, we feel how can they be benefited? So this stage will come, where there is not much distinction, if any, wherever we are. If we're in the temple, if we're out of the temple. At the beginning, sorry, I'm getting so dry. The beginner in Krishna consciousness, the Kanishta, he sees Krishna only in the temple. That we know. We've heard it from Srila Prabhupada. When we know ourselves, and we know also we have been there, of seeing Krishna only in the temple. And then we nicely worship Krishna and we are Krishna conscious, but then we out of the temple, we quarreling with devotees even. So that's the beginning stage. See Krishna only in the temple. Later on, if we're more advanced, we see Krishna everywhere. And Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in every atom. Krishna is the heart of the cat, of the dog, certainly in the heart of the devotees. How can we quarrel with devotees? They may want to quarrel with us, but we behaving and speaking, or perhaps even just being quiet in such a way is not to arouse a quarrel. Yes, you are right. Of course, we have to speak the truth. But if we are advancing Krishna consciousness, there is no question of quarreling with anybody, not even with the materialistic people, because we understand where they're coming from, where they're at. We understand all that. Does it answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Richa, any question?
I was reading the Brihad Amrita.
Brihad Bhagavatam Rita. Bhagavatam Amrita becomes Bhagavatam Rita.
Yeah, Brihad Bhagavatam Amrita. Yep. And it mentions the different descents of the Lord. So you've got the Shaligram, which is the stone, and then you've got, for example, Nanda Maharaj, the son. They say the different mood. The question is, are they all the same? They have different moods, because the associates of the Lord, in the he's surrounded by in the form of the son of Nanda Maharaj. They're all loving towards him, so that they have that different kind of atmosphere, different kind of loving reciprocation with that form of Lord Krishna. But the other form is maybe a little different. They don't have that association, so it's the potency slightly different.
Yes, you know that. We have spoken about that many times. There are innumerable moods how we can relate to Krishna. If we relate to Krishna in the form of Shaligram Jila, that's the mood of Vaikuntha, because Shaligram Jila is Vishnu. generally. Of course, we can also worship Shaligram Jila as Krishna and Balaram, for instance. But that's a different mood. In on reference and with all the rules and everything. To Nanda Maharaj you mentioned, that's a different mood. These different rasas are some broad categories, right? There is a Shanta rasa, there's a neutrality, there's a Dasya rasa, servitorship, there is a Sakya rasa, friendship, Madhurya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, parental love, Madhurya rasa, conjugal love. These are broad categories, but within these categories are many sub categories. And Amritarati brought up Svabhava, our main mood that will manifest in due course of time. What is our main mood? Because we may have that main mood and so many other moods also mixed in with it. So there are unlimited ways of relating with Krishna in these different categories. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Just one other thing. When for example, the Vaikuntha Vasis, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, they sometimes encourage the descent of advanced devotees into saintly families, so they could so does the form of the devotee that's descended, does it depend on who sends them? For example, if the Vaikuntha Vasi sends an advanced devotee, I'm not sure if the inhabitants of Golok Vrindavan sent advanced devotees. Do they have? Will that be different as well? Or
what's the question? Do they have what?
Does the descent of the advanced devotee depend on who sent them? In essence, because the devotees in Vaikuntha Vasis, they have like they're in awe and reverence of the Lord, and so whoever they send would a different type of mood to the one that maybe somebody a Vasi in Golok Vrindavan sends.
Very different mood.
Yeah.
Very different mood. Vaikuntha is a mood of awe and reference. Goloka, there is no awe and reference. Because in Goloka, everyone, in all the rasas, there, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, they're relating to Krishna. They don't take Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead in awe and reference. They don't. Very different mood. Vaikuntha is a different planet as well. Vaikuntha is a different planet, and then there is Goloka is a different planet. So different moods. Depends where we want to go, what we are attracted to. We're attracted to Vaikuntha and the opulences of Vaikuntha, then that's our destination. Not to say Goloka has no opulences. There are also opulences, but the opulences in Goloka are the Gunjamala on Krishna's, around Krishna's neck, as the forest flowers, as the fruits of the forest, and the animals, and and the cows, of course. These are different opulences. But in Goloka, nobody knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if someone sometimes knows, like Mother Yashoda looking into Krishna's mouth, if he has eaten any sand, and she sees the opulences of the Lord, she sees all the universes in his mouth, and she becomes so bewildered. Then Krishna quickly covers that with this, just showed her a little bit for a moment, and then she covers it over again, and then, is my Lala something? I don't know what happened to me, but Krishna is my beloved child. So Krishna enjoys his relationships more, human type of relationships, than his awe and reference in Vaikuntha. As it is said, Vaikuntha is like Krishna in the office, and Goloka is Krishna at home. Right? If we're in the office, that's one mood, formal mood, Mr. So-and-so. At home, it's daddy, a different mood. So very different moods. Okay, what about you, Amit? Question.
No question, Prabhu. Yes.
Do you follow?
Yes. It was interesting. We have to strive to become more, doing the round and becoming more of a devotee.
Yes, that's by the association you hear every Wednesday and some Saturdays, yes.
Join the Bhakti podcast with deep insights into all matters spiritual. Like and subscribe to keep up to date with your inner self.